So guys, this is our final output here, and this is our database. So if user fill this form like this, like ABC username and email section abc@gmail.com and password section 12345678909 only 123456789. If user fill this form and click on create account, so our data is successfully sent it in our database. So let's check it from here. So there is 4 data, and if we refresh this form, so there is fifth number of data. So now using this data, login. So if user click on this login button, login here. So if we fill this form like this, what's the username of what we username? This ABC. So let's put on this username ABC, and in password section, let's copy the password from here. So let's copy it, Control C and Control V. And if we user click on this login button, then user successfully redirected to the other page. So as you can see here, this is our final output. But if user entered some wrong information like this, then it shows invalid credential. That's it. Let's get started. So this is part 2. If you want to know how we can make like this form, then you can watch part 1. So now let's get started how we can make like this.
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding.
So first of all, open XAMPP because I'm using localhost. So open XAMPP local control panel. After that, start Apache server and MySQL server. And when both were started, then click on admin panel of MySQL. If you haven't changed your port, then you simply direct to this to wait a second 8080. If you do not change your port, then you simply direct it to this page. Else if you change your port to the 8080, then you direct to that page. So if you have any error while opening this page, you can comment pin, then I'll show you the solution in the next video. So let's create a database. So let's write down name of the database. I am writing here login information, login info. Don't put a space or capital letters here because it creates error while connecting to the database. That's why let's create it. And as you can see here, our login information database created. Now let's create a table here. So firstly, we have to count here how many table rows we want to create. So there are 4 rows. So we have to write here 5 rows because one extra rows for ID column. So we have to create 5 rows. Now let's put the name of our table. I am writing here sign up. So let's put on here sign underscore up. I already told you don't put space or capital letter here. That's why I am writing here sign up in small letters and here underscore. So let's create it. And in the first section, we have to write here ID. And after that, username. So username, and in third, create password. So write down here password, and in the fourth, confirm password. I think I forgot to put here email section, so let's put down here email. So email and password. After that, confirm password. So con password. Now let's put ID auto increment. So it will automatically set it as a primary key. So we don't have to make change in this section because ID is automatically incremented by 1 every time word button is submitted, then is automatically increased by 1. After that, let's in username section type here varchar because user can enter anything. So in length, put here 50. You can put anything, but in email section also put 50. Length means like this. If user click on like this BP coding, so how many letters here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is the length count. So that's why in email section 50 length, and in password section also put it varchar. Varchar means user can put anything. So in length I'm using 50. Confirm password also I'm using 50. Now all done. Let's save it. Now let's see. As you can see here, our database is created and our table is also created. Now let's connect this table into this form. So firstly we have to open this form into localhost. So how we can do that? Let's copy this form code into exam folder. So how we can do that? Let's open C drive, and in C drive open XAMPP folder where XAMPP is installed. If you installed any other location, then you can simply go that location and find the XAMPP folder. In XAMPP folder, click open it, and as you can see there are many folders, but find htdocs folder. Htdocs, so click on htdocs. Now there are also few folders, but we don't have to change any code, but we don't need to change anything here, so it's don't look messy. That's why we are creating another folder to be clear. So I'm using here code. You can put anything in the name of this folders. I'm writing here login, sign in, sign in, sign in, create it, and inside this folder paste these codes. So now how we can, our process completed. Now let's open it in the localhost. So how we can do that? So let's start here. First type localhost, because I changed my port to 8080. If you haven't changed it, if your port is by default in 80, then you don't need to write here port 8080. You just simply write like this / name of our folder, this sign in. So sign -in. If you haven't changed the in the port, so you can simply write down like this, but I made the change. I changed the port to the 8080. That's why I have to write here like this. Now let's open it in the localhost. Now our form is open in the localhost. Now let's code for a connection of database. Now we don't need this. Let's close it and this. Now open VS Code to code in PHP. So wait a second, it takes time to load. Now as you can see here, our VS Code is open. Now let's close this. Now create new folder. Create, I am writing here connection.php. You can choose anything, but at the last you have to write here .php. Now let's start coding in PHP. So this is the basic syntax of PHP. Now let's connect this page code into index.html. Like if user click on this button, close this file, we don't need it now. If user click on this create account, then redirect to this page. So let's point it, where is that page? Sign up. This is our page. So So guys, there is no form tag, so we have to create a form tag to connect this form. So in form tag we have to write like this. Inside this first form tag we are writing this code. So at the last here, this is another page code and this is another page code, so that's why. And after that, let's create another form tag, and let's cut it from here and paste it at the last. So here paste it. Now let's save it. Now in this sign up form, if user click on this create account button, then redirect to this page. So how we can do that? Inside this form tag there is an action attribute. Inside this action attribute, put this page link, page name. So the page name is connection.php. Now let's save it. After that, we have to also write here a method. Which method we want to use. So let's start on here. Method. I'm using post. There is two methods, get and post. So get is not secure, but post is secure. That's why most of programmers use post method. So I'm also using post method. After that, let's open this connection.php file and code. First of all, we have to connect to our database. So how we can do that? First, open our database and see our user information. I am using this user account to log in. So how we can do that? You can simply just follow these steps. Firstly, create. I'm directly connecting to database. So let's first create on the variable. Create our variable. I am creating .con. Inside this variable, write an mysql function, mysql underscore connect, mysql underscore connect. This is a function. This function simply what does that? It takes information of database and connect to our database. So firstly, it takes username. So username of our database is localhost. So let's write on here localhost. After that, it takes server name. Sorry, first it takes server name. Firstly, it takes server name. After that, it takes username. So inside the username, this root. So let's write on here root. After that, it takes password. So by default, there is no password in our database in XAMPP. So that's why in password section we have to write here blank. And after that, database name. So which database we want to connect. So let's see. We created this database login_info. So let's copy it from here and paste it here. Now our database connected. Now let's check it's working or not. It's connected or not. So how we can do that? Let's write down if else condition. So if $con, that means if our database is connected, then our $con variable becomes true, and otherwise if our database connection is failed, then $con variables becomes false. It's an boolean value, that's why it's become true or false. So I'm writing that like this. If our database is connected successfully, they show us message database connection successful. So connection okay, and puts else. That means if our database connection is failed, then show us message database connection is failed. So connection failed. So let's put comma here. Now let's open this form. Now we have to refresh it because it's not a live server. That's why we have to continuously refresh it. Now let's click on this create an account button. So we have to write here I am, let's write down username. Simply I'm removing this required attribute for now. At last I'll enter that attribute because it creates lots of headache. So copy it, find it, after that replace it by paste. Now replace it all. Now all replace is removed because now put it default. Now username bp coding email bp coding @gmail.com password, because in CSS we target that this required attribute. That's why if we remove that attribute, then this style is removed. That's why we have to put it like this. Now let's click on create button. So as you can see here, our connection is okay. Now let's send this information in database. So how we can do that? Firstly, we have to import this information from from HTML to PHP. So how we can do that? Let's see. So let's open this. After that, let's write down here. Now open index.html. Now we have to specify name of every input tag, because name is used to identify which element data we want to extract or import. So that's why we have to target every element's name. So firstly, we have to write here name equals to, this is an user field name. That's why I'm writing here username. So be careful while writing these names, because we want to exactly write this name in this connection.php. So if we made any mistake here, so it creates error. That's why. So after that, let's write down email in this input tag also. So name equals to email. After that, let's write down here name password. Let's be capital, make it. And after that, let's click on. Now let's put your name equals to con password. Now let's save it. Now we have to import this data from HTML to CSS. So firstly, create some variable to import that data into this PHP code. So firstly, we have to write here an username, and after that $_post. So this is a method to extracting data from HTML to to PHP. That means $_post. This means we used here post method like this. We use post method, and that's why we use writing here post. If you use get, then we have to write here get. And this variables means we are extracting data from HTML and storing it into this variable. You can write anything instead of this username. This is our PHP variable. You can write anything, but for clarification, I'm using like this. So let's, and inside this, we have to write here what data we want to extract from HTML. So where we write a name, value of name attribute, we have to put it here like this. So now our HTML data, username section data is imported from HTML to this variable, username variable. Now just like that, we have to create the 4 variable, because we have 4 this input tags. So let's copy it, 1 2 3 4. Now after that, we have to change here. Firstly, copy it from here. So in name section, copy the value of name and paste it here. To make double cursor, I am using Alt and click where I wanna make cursor like this, and after that we have to write here this name attribute value. So Alt and click that place and paste it like this. Username, email. This is an extra field that's very movable. After that, confirm password. So let's delete it from here and copy like this. Control C for copy and paste it here. Now let's save it. Now as you can see here, it seems to be an error because in PHP we don't declare a variable like this. We have to write underscore, not minus. Now let's save it. Now our database successfully imported from HTML to our PHP code. Now let's send this data into database. So how we can do that? So let's create another variable. So I'm creating data sent data variable equals to, and now I'm writing here SQL query. So this is a SQL query. Let me write down it first and I'll explain you. So this is our SQL query. This I am stored this value into this data variable. This insert into which table? Insert into means we wanna insert these data into which table? So insert into sign up table. So let's see. This is our sign up table, name of our sign up table. We have to put here this names, sign up. So after that, values, which values we want to enter. So I am inserting this value, username, firstly this username, after that this email, after that this password and confirm password. But this is inside single quote. Now our this variable, but we successfully created this variable and stored this data into data variable, but this line is not currently executed yet. We have to execute it by another PHP function. So how we can do that? Let's see. So firstly we have to create another variable to check it's executed or not. So I'm writing a dot check equals to, this is an query, mysql PHP function, mysql underscore query. MySQL underscore query. This query is this function simply do that, take our information and execute that. So this line is not currently executed yet. That's why it takes two arguments. That means where we want to execute and what we want to execute. So first it takes where we want to execute. So we are executing sending this value into this database. And as you can see here, we stored this information into $con variable. That's why we have to write here first $con, comma, $data. Where and what. So this is what. Where means where, in which database we want to execute this. And what data means what we want to execute it. So this is line we want to execute, and in this database we want to execute. Now our database successfully send it in a database. So let's check it send it or not. So how we can do that? So let's simply write down a condition. I already told you, if this line becomes successfully, if this line runs successfully, then it returns a boolean value, that is true or false. So if data is successfully sent, then it becomes true, and if data is not sent, then it becomes false. So like this. if our data is successfully sent, then show us message data is sent, data is sent, and else means if our data is not sent to our database, then show us message data is not sent, data is not sent. Let's put comma semicolon here. Let's save it. But now there is an error. So first let's check it's working or not. Then I'll show you what is the error and how we can fix that error. So let's open this form. Let's reload it. Now put value like this. Email. Now let's click on create account. Now as you can see here, there is an error in line number 16. So let's see what's the error. So guys, I have to put here like this, because in our database we created an ID section, ID, and we don't want to send any value in that section. That's why we have to put here blank. That's why it shows error. Now let's save it and let's see. First reload it and fill information, then I'll show you it's working or not. Now let's click on send. Now our data is successfully sent to our database, so let's check it's working or not. So click on browse, and now as you can see here, our data is successfully inserted in the database. Now I already told you there is an error in this code. So what's that error? If users click on that submit button, and if user does not change that email, this both mail are become same, but two mails aren't the same. So how we can resolve this problem? So we have to write here another code for checking if the email is replicating or not. So let's write down here if. Firstly create another variable. So let's create another variable email check, email underscore check. After that, let's write down if condition. If $email check equals to, now again I'm writing SQL query. So let me write down it first, then I'll explain you. Now let's see. So we don't need this variable, so let's delete it. Now let me explain you how it's working. So let's save it, then space. So this is an SQL query. That means we are select a star. We are selecting this table, this sign up table, all this ID, username, email, password, confirm password, this all value, star means that. But if we especially write here email, we can also do that, email. So email, we can also like do this, but I am simply writing this for easier. So select a star from sign up means table name. So sign up, this is our table name, sign up. That's why I put it here, where this is a condition. We are matching our email given by the user and email in the database. It's if already exists or not. That means if email given by the user and email in our database is exactly same, then this condition becomes true. And after when this condition becomes true, then we have to show the message to the user. So echo email. So here email already exists. Else, that means if condition became false, then run our simply this code. Copy it from here like this, paste it here like that. If email given by the user and if email in our database, any of the mail matches, then simply show the message to the user, email already exists. Else, continue our rest of code like this. So now let's save it. After that, we don't want to see this connection of PMSs because this is so awkward. And also, let's set our login registration is successful. Now let's check it's working or not. So firstly, let's refresh it like this. Now I am writing firstly coding, and in email section I am writing this email unknown this. We already entered that information. That's why this information is already existing in our database. So we cannot make it change here. So like this emails and this emails become same. Now if we click on some create account button, then it shows message email already exists. After that, if emails become different like this, I made some change here. Now if click on create button and user click on create button, we have to change completely from here like this, coding@gmail.com like this. So I think we made a change here like this. This is incorrect method. We have to create another method. This is wrong. So first create the variable. So check underscore email. Inside this, we have to write this SQL query. This code is now isn't working because this line is currently not executed yet. And in PHP, as you already know about that, if any of code is not become false, by default is true. Any of code is by default true. That's why it's haven't executed yet, and this condition is automatically gets true. So now we have to execute this line. So how we can do that? So let's simply we have to do this line simply like this line. So copy it from here. Now paste it, but we have to create another variable like email send, email underscore send. So inside where one execute exactly this line, this connection, and what we want to execute. So dollar this line check email. So check underscore email. Yes. Now this line is executed. Now we have to check here how many times our email founded in our database. So how we can do that? Let's check another method. Let's check it. So let's put here create another variable count equals to, there is an function in PHP like this, mysql underscore rows underscore count. This is a function in MySQL. So this is wrong, like delete it here underscore num underscore row. This is a correct function in PHP. Now we have to write this value here. That means if any times if our data is founded in, if our email is founded in our database, then it becomes 1, and after that it's again search for our entire database in email section. If again our email is found, then again it becomes 1 plus by 1. So continuously it's run like that. Now simply run this if else condition. So $count is greater than equals to 1. That means if our data is matched one or more than one times, then this condition becomes true. Otherwise, run the else part condition. Now let's save it. After that, let's reload this page and check it's working or not. So in this section, I have to write like this. I'm using jpt data @gmail, like this, create account. Now our database successfully sent it. Now let's see it. And the third number, this is our email and password. Go back, refresh it. Now let's put same email. I'm copying this email from here. Copy it. Let's paste it here, and now let's see it's working or not. So now as you can see here, our email is already existing in database. That is the end of our registration form code. Now our registration form code is completed. Now if you just submit this information, fill this form and submit the information, then this information is saved to the database. After that, we have to check this information. If the information is correct, then direct to the another page, else not. So let's code for this page. Now let's comment this, close this page. Now let's create another page for sign up, sign in .php. It's very important. We have to write here PHP at the last. So in this code, so let's write down here PHP code syntax. Firstly, connect the database. Simply, I'm copying from here, and pasting here. Now let's check our database connected or not. I'll already explained you how it's working. So I'm simply copying and pasting here. That's why. So let's uncomment this code. Let's check it's working or not. But before that, we have to link this page here. If user click on this form action button, submit button, then direct to this page. So sign.php. Let's save it. We have to also put here method. Which method we want to use? So I already told you post method is more secure. That's why. Let's save it. After that, reload this page. If user click on this sign up button, wait a second. Oh, sorry. If user click on this login button, so we have to put it like this. Click on submit. Connection okay. That means our connection is successful. Now let's see how to check this information from database. So simply we have to extract our form value into PHP code. So let's write down name of every input field. So in here I'm using username underscore login, because this is a login form page, login form data. That's why, because we don't have permission to write same name and for name attribute value. So that's why we have to write a different name. And after that, in password section, let's see name password underscore login. You can use anything here, but be careful writing this. Now let's extract this data from this HTML to PHP code. So open this code. Now after that, I'm simply copying from here like this, username and password. So I'm copying these lines, username and password. So let's change like this. I'm using Alt for multi cursor, login. Now that's it. Now as you can see here, we successfully extracted our data from HTML to PHP. Now let's see this is correct or not. So this here we want to use, we have to write small letter because we used here small letter, that's why. Now let's check is this information is matching in our database or not. Then according to this, we show the message to the user. Now I'm copying this line for making easier. Paste it here. After that, let's change these names. So write down here check, 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 and data sent, data underscore send count. Now select star from sign up table. We don't changing the table, we wanna check information from this tables, that's why we have to write the same name. So select a star from this table where email equals to email, and but there are this username and password we are matching, so that's why we have to change it from here like this. Now in previous code I forgot to explain this like this, why we write this email, because in our database we write the email section in the name, write this capital E and mail small in a small letter, that's why I write it like this. Now we have to match the information, that's why let's delete this. Now firstly I'm using this username matching the username, so let's see how I created that username field in a database. So in username field I simply used like this, so let's copy it from here, copy it username, paste it here and equals to, and in single quote because we are taking this value. So let me write on it first and I'll explain you. Now as you can see here I checked information given by the user from the database. So this line means this username means this is our name of this field. We have to write this exact name here because we are taking it from this field. After that, this equals to means we are matching this information, this is correct or not, from which value, from given by the user. So the value given by the user we stored in this variable dot username, that's why I'm writing here. Simply we are matching this username field value and value given by the user like this, and simply like that I also matching the password value given by the user and from the database. That's it. And this means if both were true, then that means if both login and password section becomes true, then this value becomes true, otherwise this value becomes false. Okay, now let's go to the field. Now we have I already told you this is currently not executed yet, we have to execute it. So how we can do that? Firstly, where we want to execute? So we want to execute in this database. So I already write it here $count. After that, what we want to execute?
1.
So I want to execute this
1. Then
check value. So let's write down here $check. So $check. After that,
we want to redirect user to another page.
One times this both value becomes true, then our value
zero.
Then our
count value is 0. Then
this value becomes
show
true
to the user message.
After that, if this becomes true, this line
but currently
becomes true,
like this,
then the value of count becomes 1. Again, if this line's value becomes again true, then the value of count becomes again 2. If the value of this line becomes again true,
writing script
then
code,
the value of
alert
count becomes 3.
I'm using
and then
this
continuously
HTML
it's
form
happening
because it shows
so we
suggestion
have to
for a script,
count it here.
for a script
What we want to count?
tags.
So we want to count this
That's
data
why
sent.
I'm writing in index.html.
So let's write down here.
Now let's
Paste
copy it this
Now let's write
alert function and paste in this PHP code. So copy it from here and paste it here like this, but we have to write it into inside a script tag. So a script and slash script, closing the script tag, and inside this script tag we have to write here this alert function. As we already use this double quoted here, that's why we have to use here single quote. Now done. After that, let's firstly we have to write down this value of count 0. It's necessary. If you do this, then value of our count is firstly 0, and we also have to put this count value 0 in this connection PHP form also. So by default the value of count is 0, and if connection is true, then the value it's become 1. Now let's check it, it's working or not. Firstly refresh it. Now let's sign in, login. Click on login button, and if we click on this, and I'm copying the data from the database, copying this email from here like this, email, and paste it here, and in password section again copying from the database and pasting here. If we let's check the code correct or not. So we want to see message. If the information is correct, then we want to see some message currently now. After that we'll change this message to another, we want to redirect to another page, but currently I'm reading this data is correct. Now let's click on this login button. Firstly refresh it, click on this, put the value and paste this password, email and password, click on login. Now there is error in line number 23. Let's see what's the error. So let's check what's the error. So as you can see here, there is a not EACH, there is an EACO, ECHO, echo. This is an echo correct form. This is now correct. Now let's go back, refresh it. We have to refresh it first. So refresh it. Now click on login. Now give the value, email and copy password from the database, paste it here and click on login. Now as you can see, there is an error. So let's check our code is correct or not. So let's see what's the matter. So as you can see here, we made a mistake here because this is an username field, but we are trying to enter email here, that's why it's creating an error. Now we have to put here email from the database, so sorry, username from the database. Now put this username and password is again like that. Also we have mistake in script, we have to write an script, not tp, like this pt. This is correct. Now our code is also correct. Now let's check it. Firstly refresh this page. Now click on login. Now copy this username from the database. Now paste it. Again paste the password from the database. Paste it, this password, copy, Control C and Control V. Paste it here, click on login. Now as you can see here, our data is correct. That means our code is also correct. Now we don't wanna see this connection OK message, so let's comment it. Now let's save it. Now we wanna see if user data is correct, then we want to redirect user to another page. So how we can do that? Let's write down here an PHP function header. In this function it takes location where we want to redirect to the user. So this is an like this location, and we haven't created any page here to redirect, that's why we have to create new page. Then we have to put that location here in this page. So I am writing this redirected HTML inside this page I'm gonna creating the simple page. So let's see what we will create. So h1, after that, so guys, in this page I wanna paste this code. If you wanna know how we can make this page, I already made it on video. If you wanna know, then you can watch our previous video. In previous video I told you how we can make like this page. I'm writing the style in this current page, so inside this style tag, so STYLE, so inside the style tag I am copying this all styles .css, copying for Control C, and let's paste it here. Now let's save this page. Now we don't want to this page, close this. After that we're good. Now let's save this page. Now go to sign in.php. Now we want to redirect to the user where we are now created this redirect.html. So let's write down here redirect to the HTML. Now that means if our information is correct, user information is correct, then redirect user to that page. So firstly refresh it. After that let's click on login, give the information. I am writing here like this BP coding, and in password section I am copying from here, copy, Control C, Control V, login. Now as you can see here, our button is successfully loaded. So if you want to know how we can make like this button, then you can watch our previous video. So let's see from the beginning how it's working. So firstly I'm signing up. So in username I'm writing code, and in email section I'm writing code @gmail.com, and in password system I'm writing here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and in again confirm password I'm writing again 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and create account. Now our data is successfully sent. Now go to check our database, it's inserted not. Now there is 3 data. If we refresh the page, there is 4 data. The 4th data is now we currently inserted. That's our data. So now let's click on go back and click on login. So if we give that information, username, code, which we earlier given in the registration form, so if we give that code and in password section 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and if we click on login, then we will successfully redirect it to this page. This button is looking awesome, you know. If you want to know, then you can watch our previous video. That is it. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.